Hello and welcome to this video where I'm going to break down some of my street photography. I am a director and a photographer, cinematographer. You can check out my website to see more, or my Instagram at sebcoxfilms or sebcox.com. But yeah, let's jump right into it. Here we have a piece that I took in Brighton. This is all street photography. None of it was staged. It's all kind of in the moment. I'm always looking to tell a story, or if not a story, at least communicate a feeling. That's always the goal in all my work. For me, I always got to take a photo of something which resonates a feeling or an emotion. And the way this guy was sat here enjoying this evening when I was walking about with my camera, clearly just taking in everything, and everything was so still and calm. It was just beautiful. You can see we've got these lovely highlights coming in from the sun over here, and just to bring out part of his features there. Obviously I was very aware that I was going to be getting this as a silhouette. As to the neutral feeling of it, I tried to make the audience who's looking at it feel as though it could be them, and so they relate to the emotion more. So I've made sure to include these key elements here that are distinguishable. Like you've got the pier with all the roller coaster rides on it, and so those who are local to Brighton can appreciate where it is as well. In terms of post-production, I did play around with the colours quite a bit. I definitely think the sky was more blue, and this was a lot more subdued, but I really wanted to pull those two colours there. This piece here is actually one of my favourite pieces I've ever taken. It's like lots of little stories in one. There's such a warmth about it. I remember the day I took this, it was so cold outside. It was so warming around here. And it, it had all those colours bouncing off of the roof and all the different elements there. And I was like, wow, that's stunning. As I mentioned before, in each of these, you've got all these different stories that are going on. You've got a family of kids here, and I presume a parent, and all these kids are drawing, waiting for their food. And here you've got people on a date. Supposedly there could be brother and sister, who knows? But we can try and portray these stories here. And you've got this older couple here, who probably been together for a while, and you've got almost these kind of three different stories that are going on. All these colours are actually from the twilight sky. Naturally, we're getting these lovely again very subdued blues, which are complemented very well with the mix of yellows and reds. Here's another one from Brighton, one of those photos that if you live local to the area, it's a very beautiful piece, because we do see loads of people taking photos of the West Pier, and I wanted to capture it how we do actually see it. It's not this glorified object that is out at sea. It's, to us who live here, it's part of the landscape. These ones here are ones from a protest in Brighton. You can see the pier's back again. I'd never done protest photography before, so I really wanted to go and try that out and see what it was like. I really wanted to capture the energy and the almost anger of the crowd. I really wanted to try and get that. So you can see with this image here, I feel there's a lot of movement. I got right down and close to these two. These two are at the front of the march, and they were stirring each other on, then stirring the crowd up. And I caught this beautiful moment where it was almost like people just yelling at each other with their messages. It sort of captures that anger very well. My recommendation for this kind of photo is that you just go to these places and you find the subjects that you can see are portraying what you have gone there for. So I went to capture that rage, and these people were being very powerful in their body language. You watch them and you see what they're doing, and you're seeing the patterns that they do, and then you get this moment, this overwhelming figure, again silhouetted, that's just looming on this whole side of the frame. And then due to the perspective and the wide angle lens, we get this feeling of this person who's smaller trying to stand up to something which is bigger. This is another one from the same march, but this one here I took whilst there was a massive argument going on between people who were pro-Brexit from the pub, and then the people in the protest who were against Brexit. There was this amazing moment where these two crowds of people were just absolutely going at each other, and so I a little bit dangerously put myself in between the two places and tried to get the angle as low as I could to show this almost overwhelmment of emotion. I mean, what adds to this is all the textures you've got. I was very lucky with this individual that You know, you had all this kind of movement in the necklace there. You've got all these wonderful textures from the shirt, and you've got these textures of the different tattoos, and the pose itself and the facial expression is so focused and angry. It tells a lot with very few elements. Here's the last one from Brighton Protest. This one was more to sort of capture symbolism of what was happening, where we had police force, we had all the different kind of people who have collected together, and this clear separation between them, this order to it. And then you had the classic imagery of the EU flag with the Union Jacks, and then you have the place, which is all highlighted as the Brighton Pier captured all this motion and all these layers of content in one image. I'm not in Brighton anymore. This is actually Eastbourne, and as you can tell, I love taking photos of the sea. This one here I love for a few different reasons. I mean, I love the texture of the sea in this. Like, it's so surreal, it's so just flat. It was eerily still, and it was so peaceful, and I just had to capture this moment because we have this image and this texture of this peacefulness and this calmness to complement it. You've got this peaceful family who, if you are from the UK, you can probably relate a lot to these kind of little family trips and adventures to the sea. Maybe it's too cold to go in, but it's just nice to be there and just take in the environment. That's exactly what they were doing. And then we've got these lovely little added texture elements from the right hand side. We've got this as a what's the phrase now? What's it? It's kind of like a juxtaposition, but for an image. If I remember it, I'll put it in like a text here. This was taken in London. I love it when I find textures, and I love this breaking of the textures as well, where we had prison-esque feel with the shadows, and then they were completely broken up by having these feet and these pinks that brought disorder to the order. And that's very much how I feel in London. I feel that everything is quite ordered but also quite chaotic, and there's parts of London that I like, and there's other parts of London that I just feel is very overwhelming. All these shadows to me feel like London, very organized, very much getting on with it, and this very much feels like me when I'm just sort of there. This here is another one of my favorites actually. This again is in London. It's one of those ones that have got these incredible textures to it, and we get this wonderful kind of story of trying to work out, you know, what has this person's day been like, what is their job, what do they do. And if I'm honest, this alleyway, it absolutely stank. It stank so bad, it smelled awful. And it was the fact that this guy's break, his relaxation time, was to stand in this absolutely stinking alleyway. And I'm thinking, gosh, how stressful must your job be if that is your relaxation time? But I love everything in this. Everything is so like angry and aggressive and kind of like nasty, and there's like bins here, graffiti there, and then we've got the top, we've got this kind of like, again, more kind of like a prison-esque metal. We've got security cameras. Everything just feels nasty. And then we've just got this one individual here who's very innocently just relaxing on their phone. This one was taken around Christmas time in London, and it was so busy. Crazy busy. London, if you don't know, gets stupid busy around Christmas, and I wanted to capture that moment. And just so happened when I took the photo, I had been waiting for a while, but we had this person who was walking along in this very luminescent green top. And just as they went through the middle, I snapped the photo, and they just really stood out to me. That and this person here. If I'm honest, if they're not already a model, I'll be very surprised. The more you look, the more you see, and there's all these other little gems and these other little stories that are going on in the image. These overwhelming structures above everybody, as well as this sign here that, because of our shutter speed and also the flickering of the image here, it's just gibberish. And that to me as well also highlighted how the environment was feeling. It was just chaotic. You've got all these lovely little stories that you can pull out these individuals from the chaos. Another one of my favorites, showing the two different kind of lifestyles here. We have this lovely balance of frame. We've got this guy right down the middle here, and we've got all this negative space on the top and the bottom. which just allows us to really kind of fall into the core of the image here. And you've got someone who they're probably coming back from work, or they're an artist, or whatever. They have their own profession that they get on with. Next to them, we've got someone whose profession is literally to be a human statue. Who knows, maybe this guy who is supposedly this artist, maybe other times he is actually a human statue. Who knows? Now lastly, this one is again to sort of simulate the craziness of London, but in particular the kind of evenings in London. If you've ever done a day trip in London, where you get very tired very quickly because it is so crazy there, and come the evening, everything just feels that it's kind of like melting when you're really, really tired. And this was like a long day's end, and when I looked down, it was like looking at how I see the buildings when I look up. The combination of the overwhelming contrast and the distortion told the story of how I felt when I was that tired late at night in London. That is a little breakdown of some of my street photography. I have got a lot more, and I'm happy to do a few more of these because I think they're quite interesting to look back on and reflect and review my style and why I do what I do, and try and communicate that with you guys. If you have any particular questions about any of my other works, you can find them either on sebcox.com, or you can go to @sebcoxfilms on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. Whew. I'll see you next time.